Hello, good people. Welcome to another fantabulous episode of Real Women, Real Talk. And I am your host, Shavon Carter, and I am joined by who?
Her other host, yeah, your other host, Trenace Richardson. It's so good to see y'all.
Yes. And y'all listen, I am in such a good mood
Tell
today.
them why, Siobhan.
You want to know why? Because you can't see this. If you're listening, you can't see that I have on my Pisces sweatshirt because we are entering into Pisces season this week and it is my birthday week.
Hey, 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 hey! Pew, pew,
Pew, pew, pew, pew. I'm so excited. Like we talked about this before. I love birthdays. They are a good time. Just thankful to be celebrating another year, especially with everything that's going on. I'm so grateful to be here. And I'm just looking forward to celebrating with my friends, my sisters. We're gonna have a
We go turn up. You hear me? To the moon.
Oh my God. Yes. So that's what we're going to do this weekend. So that's why I'm so excited. So you're going to get all of this birthday energy from me in this episode. So get ready, get ready, get ready.
Hey, I'm ready.
So, y'all, we are Real Women Rock. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and we exist to create safe spaces for women to do real personal development work on themselves. And we're going to tell you a little bit more about that later on. But for right now, visit us at realwomenrock.org
Yep,
for more
that.
information about who we are and what we do. All right, sister, are you ready for more of our real talk? So, real talk. Before we get into a little deep conversation today, I just want to check in with you. It's been a while since we recorded. So, how are you doing, ma'am?
Doing well. Thank you for asking. Every once in a while, we need a little bit of a teens of a break, just a
Yeah,
teens.
yeah.
And so we took our teens of a break. And since then, my 16-year-old has had a birthday. And
16.
we took him skiing. My husband got on the skis, and I made sure we went to ski. I'm not. Mm-mm. And also, what else has happened? Oh, he got his learner's permit.
Oh my God.
So, girl,
The
bring my
time.
clutching my pearls.
Um,
So I'm excited about this season because watching him transition, and it's just amazing, and it's given me honestly more freedom because I'm like, what you want to do? Go ahead and do it, and let me go on over here and do my thing. So giving him some independence and all of that has also freed me up a tinks. So I'm good.
I
Um,
know that's right.
I'm doing really, really well with all of the things, as you said, that
Yeah.
are happening in the world right now.
Mhm.
Considering all of that, I am well and at
Yeah.
peace. How are you?
Same thing, considering everything that's going on, I am in a good space. Like I am protecting my peace. I'm leaning into joy. I'm getting things done, being very productive. I am officially 82 days away from graduation.
This
Oh,
is the season of
officially.
it all. Hear me?
Yes, yes. I got my cap and gown already just in the closet, ready for me to put it on, honey. 82 days away from graduation. I'm so excited. So I'm just focused on that kind of stuff, like focused on doing what I need to do to get to graduation. So I'm feeling really good. Yeah.
So happy. I'm so happy you are leaning into it.
Mhm.
Just the joy and the accomplishment of it all, and not letting it stress or overwhelm you. Because this stuff out here could if we
Right.
let it. And I'm just
Exactly.
glad you're not. Yep. Good
No,
for you.
I had my time. I had a couple of weeks to get adjusted and just like what in the world is going on. But now I feel like I'm
Mhm.
just kind of in my little mode and not allowing it to impact me. So yeah, I'm good.
Understood. Understood. Understood.
So another real talk question I have for you, sister. We're going to be talking about childlike behavior in just a minute, but
Mhm.
what was your favorite food or snack to eat as a child?
Ooh. Okay, so the first thing that came to mind is my favorite candy
Mhm.
was oh crap. Now Chico sticks. That's what they
Okay,
were.
okay.
Chico sticks were my very favorite. In fact, I found now that the only place I can just go and get them and they always have them is Five Below.
Mhm.
Everywhere else I can't find them anywhere else, so
Okay.
every once in a while, just for nostalgia's sake, I'll go get a Chico stick. They used to have them at Dollar General, but they don't have them
Mhm.
anymore. I
Okay.
know because I've looked.
You've
um
looked.
so um, so that is my favorite candy. I think
Mhm.
as a child, I was the McDonald's French fry girl, just like anybody else. My
Yeah.
aunt reminds me all the time that one of the things I used to love to say was when I could barely speak was French fry, French fry, French fry. So
Oh
so
my
those are my two that I remember right off the dome. What about
God.
you?
Okay. What is so funny, I was gonna say McDonald's French fries.
Oh my goodness.
I was a McDonald's French fry eating somebody. My
I'm
mom said
talking.
she was
It's
pregnant
something
with
in
me.
them. It's
It's
something in
something
them.
in them, right? I eat them to
Mhm.
this day. But my mom said when she was pregnant with me, she would go to McDonald's a lot. So I don't know if that has something to do with it. Not sure, but baby, I gotta have me some French fries and just a plate of fries. And I think I've shared this on here before that I would have a big plate of fries with ketchup on it and some milk. Yeah. So
Well,
I don't know where that came
and you
from.
were in heaven, in heaven. Mhm.
Love me a good
Too
fry.
funny.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh,
Some,
yes.
and I feel like they do them different now because
Mhm.
I don't know whether it's me evolving or the food has changed, but
Right.
I don't. And I'll tell you who's got something in their fries. Chick-fil-A
Who?
got something in their fries.
Them today
'Cause
too. Yes.
at my big age, I had some Chick-fil-A fries today. Shh, don't tell my trainer. I got a personal
They're not.
trainer now.
They're not. They're not
Don't
gonna
watch this, Robin.
hear.
But yes, so there's something there. I done lost it for McDonald's, but yeah,
Yeah,
too
I got
funny.
you. I got you. That is funny. So look, y'all, we would love, love, love to hear from you all. We want to know how you're doing. Let us know. Let us know what your favorite food or snack was as a child.
Mhm.
You can reach out to us at speakpipe.com/real women real talk, or just email us at info@realwomenrock.org and let us know what your favorite food and snacks were as a child and just how you're doing. We would love to hear from you.
Absolutely. Go back to some nostalgia.
I know, I know. I was just listening to Jagged Edge. They were on the Breakfast Club, and so I love like just thinking about the music from back in the day. And then I watched the Luther Vandross documentary and
Mm.
about all his good music. I made a whole playlist after watching that documentary because it was
Mm.
so good. Yeah, so I
I
love
haven't seen it yet. Looking
nostalgia.
forward to it.
Yeah, it's really good. So
Good.
okay, so I wanted us to get some warm and fuzzy, sister, because for this deep dive, we are going to go there. We really are.
Oh, okay.
We're going there. We
Okay.
really are. I just think it's a much needed conversation. It's been
Mhm.
coming up a lot in conversations that I've been having with people lately. And I just wanted to bring it, to this platform because there may be people who are listening to this episode who can identify with what I'm going to be talking about
Okay.
today. So let's talk about today emotionally immature parents.
Well,
We are going there and
okay.
how that impacts some adult children. Like,
Phew.
yeah,
All right, here we go.
yeah, I really want to go there because it just seems like in many of the recent conversations that I've had with people, this keeps coming up. And a lot of the issues that they're dealing with as adults is related to being raised by, unfortunately, emotionally immature parents.
Mm.
And I don't want this to, like, I'm not bringing this up to bash parents or anything like that, because I know parenting is hard. I'm not a parent. I couldn't imagine
Mhm.
all the things that you have to go through. There's no manual that comes, with parenting. So I understand that it is a challenge, and you just kind of feeling your way out as you go. And
Mhm.
I also understand that when we have unprocessed pain, traumas, it can impact how we parent. And so for some
Mhm.
people, when they haven't dealt with their issues, it spills over into how they raise their children. So I just want to talk about it from that perspective of what it looks like to be an emotionally immature parent and how it can impact the child even into their adult years. Um,
Understood.
so before I get into like the details, what came up for you, sister, as I mentioned this topic?
First of all, it felt like a blow,
Yeah.
just because one, we don't talk about it often, right?
Yeah.
In this framework,
Mhm.
in Real Women, I think we have approached the daddy issues, and when we get there, we always hear, okay, we got to do a circle on mommy issues too, because you can't just, they're both and so
Mhm.
we've done both at different points in time,
Yeah.
but the frame that you just gave this for emotionally immature parents,
Yeah.
OMG. The first thing I did was think about my parents, and I've got, an extra set of an extra parent to think about because of my
Mhm.
stepfather.
Mhm.
And then, of course, I went to my own thought process about my own parenting.
Mhm.
So I have a lot of thoughts going on right now that I'm ready to dig into, I think.
Okay. All right.
I
We're
think.
gonna be gentle with it.
Okay, I'm ready.
And
This
I'm
is Real Women, Real Talk.
It's
I'm ready
real
for it. I
women,
can
real
take it.
talk. Yeah. And it's not to point fingers or anything, but just to be informative. That's what I want this conversation to be informative.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to share this resource for those who are listening. I'm holding up a book that is called Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents: How to Heal from Distant, Rejecting, or Self-Involved Parents. And it's by
Wow.
Lindsay Gibson, and
Mm.
she's a psychotherapist. And I'll make sure to put this in the note section, the detail section of this episode, so that people can refer to it. But it is such a great resource, and it really breaks down the details of what an emotional immature parent is, how it impacts children, how some symptoms of how it shows up. So I want to define what it is. There are a lot of definitions out there, but basically, an emotional immature parent is a person who has a lack of emotional self awareness and empathy.
Mhm.
Um, they place an emphasis over their own needs as opposed to their child's needs. So they're more self absorbed and just thinking about what they need as opposed to what their child needs. And they don't know how to communicate effectively. And they often exhibit unpredictable behavior because they haven't learned how to manage and regulate their emotions and how to express them in a healthy way. And they are uncomfortable with their own emotional needs.
Mm.
So a lot of times it stems from, them going through their own traumas, being growing up in a household, especially back in the day where emotions weren't celebrated, expressing yourself. A lot of emotional suppression was practiced. So a lot of times it's just they don't know what to do with the feelings that they have. And unfortunately, it shows up in how they parent. Um,
Yeah.
so before I go any further, just thinking about that definition, sister, have you had an experience with an emotional immature parent? Like, have you observed or witnessed or experienced it for yourself?
Yeah. Real Women, Real Talk. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So, um, first, when you were reading the definition, I thought of a more recent term that is, sort of the opposite of this is emotional intelligence, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that comes up a lot in my work, whether it's mentoring or coaching or doing some training and facilitating. That topic is talked about in a lot of professional circles too, in professional learning and development. And so whether we are in professional circles or personal circles, emotional intelligence is really needed because it helps build relationships, working relationships, personal relationships, when you can empathize, when you can identify the feelings of another person and just know yourself enough to know how to respond and how to act out of your own emotions. And so I thought about that flip lens where, when it happens positively, the kind of results that you get both professionally and personally. And I thought of my mom, and I really do feel like even my mom got married when she was 18. She had me when she was 19. So she was just a baby having me. But all that I can remember about my mother was her really navigating the balance of being empathetic toward me while also parenting and mothering me, right? Disciplining me. She did discipline me. And most of the time it was because I was disrespectful to somebody else. She did not play that at all. And so, I did stuff like took stuff out of her closet, and, wore her clothes. Like I did, some silly stuff. Stayed out too late. She had to come and get me out of the club one time because I was underage in the club. Like that actually happened. So, so I did my stuff where she had to discipline me, but overall, she was I can talk to her about anything and, feel safe. And she communicated with me pretty well. I think there was because of church, there was some taboo topics we didn't do a whole lot of talking about. But her thing was she was much more evolved than other people. She was like, all right, so are you having sex? And so just tell me so I know what to do, that kind of thing, rather than avoiding it completely. Conversely, the two parents that my male parents, both my father and my stepfather, either just because I wasn't able to be with my father in the home for a long time, and when we were in the house together, it wasn't a healthy relationship between him and my mom, and nor us, from my perception. And so I've had a better relationship with him since he has not been in the house than he has been. But my stepfather was there for a lot of years after that, after they divorced, and it was like dealing with a baby, like really just having to navigate his feelings and what he wanted. I had to make a decision for myself. I am going to this house to see my mother. I will sacrifice all of the stuff that I'm feeling right now to go see my mother, because my stepfather was horrendous. And I know that there was definitely some positive moments. I'm not taking anything away from that. And my mother loved him and they had their ups and downs. But from a child's perspective, he is the epitome of an emotionally immature parent. So I'm looking forward to this conversation. Sorry it took so long, but you bringing out the therapy session. I didn't do this. You did. So
that's usually how it happens, though. But so before I get into my experience, I just want to talk about some of the signs of an emotionally immature parent. And this is not an exhaustive list because I'm just listing some signs, but there are like 4 different categories of a parent. So the book goes into more detail, and I won't get into all of that for this discussion. But just some examples are like fear of genuine emotion, and they may withdraw from emotional closeness. So it feels like they're emotionally distant. They may be blind to their children's needs and self-absorbed, leaving the child feeling emotionally abandoned and lonely. Like if the person has confided in their parent about being abused, and the parent just acts like it doesn't exist because they're focused on wanting to stay in the relationship as opposed to caring for the child and protecting them.
Mhm.
Often overreacting to minor things, just blowing up because they don't know how to deal with what they're feeling, so they just react.
Mhm.
Not having the ability to give sympathy or attention unless the child was sick. So there are some times when a child may fake being sick just so they can get that attention from their parent because they learned that that's the only way they're going to get it.
Mm.
Or inability to self reflect or see the part that they play in the problem. So they may play the victim a lot of times and deflect or make the other person's fault and do a lot of blaming and not really owning the part that they play in it.
Mhm.
Or they may be rigid and single minded and defensive when others provide ideas. So they may see it as disrespectful if you try to insert another suggestion because they just are focused on what they want to do and not open to other people's opinions. And then another example is they do what feels good to them and not really considering what feels good to the child.
Mhm.
So similar to you, my upbringing, my mom, had me when she was 17, but she was still there. Like I felt like she was a nurturer. She was open. We were like friends. She disciplined like your mom. She was definitely a disciplinarian, but I still felt like she supported me and she was like there for me. So I didn't feel it from my mom, but definitely my dad. He just wasn't there. That was part of
Mhm.
it. So it was just looking at his own needs as opposed to what I needed. So just not being present. And then my stepfather. When I tell you the poster child of playing the victim, my former stepfather, not the current one, but my former stepfather was the poster child of playing a victim and just very immature in how he dealt with things. So
Mhm.
that's the experience. Just growing up in the house with him, I just saw how it was all about him, very self-absorbed and just blaming everybody else, jealousy, when people
Mhm.
would pay more attention to my mom than him and just yeah, it was a mess. So that was my experience growing up for sure.
That's it's so funny that we are sisters because you just kind of outlined the same thing I did, but
Mhm.
you added some nuances to your stepfather, wherein that jealousy piece. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. And it
Mhm.
wasn't just who paid attention to her, but he had kids, has kids, and he's
Mhm.
passed away, but he has kids who are still here.
Mhm.
My stepbrother, one passed away, but my stepsister is still here, and we are here. And he just thought we, as my mother's kids, were too good for our own britches, and it was all of that that you could tell was just jealousy. Like, what is
Yeah.
going on? So
Mhm.
yeah, I'm glad you
Yeah.
brought that up.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah. So what kind of impact did you experience that type of parenting had on you as a child or just what you've observed from other children?
Yeah. So um, I'll start by saying I think the men in my family, my brothers as well as uncles and the men in my family who have dealt with some level
Mhm.
of emotionally immature parents or supervision, um, are not as equipped to
Mm.
take care of themselves in adulthood, or those that um, they have authority over their children, or they might be jumped from job to job, or not really there and present for their kids. So I see the cycle, as from my perspective. I'm talking about my stepfather mostly, but the men in my family. So just watching how that can trickle down. For me personally, it 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 caused me to bring so much baggage
Mm.
into not just my marriage, but before I got married, my relationships.
Yeah.
And I think because I did not have a man consistently in my life who not only understood the navigating of life, but poured that into me. So I didn't know what to expect necessarily when it came to men.
Mhm.
And I thought, because I didn't like how I was treated over there, because I felt the jealousy or the, the disdain or the distance or what, whatever, the self-centeredness, because I felt that over there.
Mhm.
If you show me some attention and
Yeah.
act like you like me,
Yeah.
and you pay me some attention and you care what I think, oh,
Yeah.
it is on. Like
Yeah.
we go together now. Like
Really.
we go together real bad. And so honestly, I jumped into things. I said this in Real Women this past weekend. I exchanged what intimacy that I wanted for, for a very specific amount of time, to much earlier than I planned. I
Mhm.
exchanged that for man getting what he wanted from me, which was sex. It wasn't that I was ready or that I wanted to, but
Yeah.
I loved the attention. And I thought what came with the attention was,
Mhm.
I'm supposed to do this for you.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Mhm.
so having a man so self-involved, or men so self-involved in their own lives that they didn't pour into me, left me handicapped, I think, when it came to my relationships. That's one specific
Mhm.
place. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's so interesting about that? And the book talks about this, that emotional loneliness is one of those areas or impacts to a child. And as an
Mm.
adult, they may feel from that emotionally immature parent. So they may feel like they don't have a safe space to express their feelings, or they may feel dismissed or discounted. And that messaging is deposited and it's realized in different ways. So they may put other people's needs before theirs to maintain the relationship. They may
Mhm.
deny that they have emotional needs and just be so focused on other people and deny themselves what they need. But something that you mentioned just now was that eagerness to leave childhood behind. So it
Mm.
can look like the sexual promiscuity, becoming sexually active really early, jumping into adulthood prematurely because you're trying to get away from your childhood,
Mm.
um, getting jobs early, marrying early, or joining the military because you're thinking that I have to take care of myself anyway, so I might as well start doing adult things.
Yep.
And they settle for emotional loneliness in relationships because it feels familiar.
Mm, mm, mm. Yes, and yes, and yes, and yes.
Mhm.
Absolutely, absolutely. What impacts did it have on you?
Yeah. So definitely the early becoming sexually active, because there was such a void there,
Yeah.
similar to what you talked about, just feeling emotionally deprived of
Mhm.
that attention, that male attention from my father and stepfather. So not having that, I just desired it. So that first or really any type of attention, and it caused me to, I might be in a relationship, but I would still entertain other guys because I just needed that attention. So that was probably the biggest way that it showed up for me.
Mm.
Um, yeah. And then
Mhm.
another way that people may experience it is what's called parentified, where you
Mm.
may feel like the roles are reversed in parenting. Like you may feel like the parent, and your parent may feel like the child, and you are parenting them. And so when you're growing up, you tend to maybe take care of your siblings and just be that caregiver because that's what you grew up doing. And then
Mm.
you find yourself in more parentified type relationships because that's how you're used to operating. So,
Yeah. Can I add, so I guess it's a piece of that one, but also
mm,
you mentioned jumping to adulthood prematurely.
yeah,
I think one of the things I can recognize in my life very early on, for me, I think I was ready. I called myself being ready to get married really early, much
yeah,
earlier than I really was.
mm,
But that was one piece that I know that I think I just rushed and moved into,
mm,
that caused me to say, I have to grow up. And well, women are told, girls are told that they're more mature than boys
right,
anyway.
right.
And so with that piece coupled with, I've got to get out of this, and I
Mhm,
could not wait to go to college, all of those. So I that really resonates with me, that
mhm,
growing up really early. Yeah.
mhm, yep.
Hmm.
So then the question becomes, sister, what do we do with all of that, right? Like
Mm.
we're adults now. We're not those little girls who are back in those homes where we experience the emotional immature parent. Like, how do we cope with some of the remnants that we may be experiencing, even at our big ages, now? What are some things that have helped you to cope with those feelings?
Yeah, well, perfect commercial break. Because to be very honest with you, and
Yeah.
I'm, Real Women has been everything to me
Mhm.
in this last decade because I've been able to process in community, in
Mhm.
safe community. I've been able to process my feelings. And so and I have not held them in. And for the most part, I didn't have to, I pay to sustain Real Women, but I didn't have to pay a therapist just to sit and I
Mhm.
have paid a therapist, but I'm
Mhm.
saying this community allowed me to just be with these women and process what I was going through. So honestly, that's one place that has been a saving grace for me. Again, I have done therapy, so that has been really helpful for me. And and I will just say it is so important to be honest.
Mhm.
um Most of us, as you said, put our feelings to the side or dismiss them or discount them, suppress them.
Yeah.
And being able to say out loud to myself or to others that I was hurt and that I was taken advantage of, and all of the things, being able to say those things out loud has been so important and pivotal to my healing. Because church culture,
Mhm.
I'm a church girl, had taught me, you're blessed and not stressed,
Yeah.
or
Mhm.
put your church face on and hallelujah anyhow,
Yeah.
and to not really dwell on your problems because you're not trusting God if you do that. And what I'm learning um, through living life and studying and reading life, but also being a part of a wonderful community called the Faith Community, is spiritual bypassing is just so easy for those of us who are churchy to do. And
Mhm.
as a result of just kind of saying, what, I'm not going to deal with this. I'm just going to say that God will work it out. Or I'm not going to deal with this. I'm just going to say, I am whole and healed and I am blessed,
Yeah.
So being honest has been such an important strategy for me to overcome feelings. And the last thing I'll say is, if they were emotionally immature, right,
Mhm.
which means that they focused more on their feelings than mine,
Mhm.
one of the answers to my healing and breaking that cycle is to be emotionally intelligent and
Mhm.
empathetic toward their feelings.
Mhm. Mhm.
So being able to understand what my father and my stepfather went through in their lives to get them to the point where they were the people that I experienced,
Mhm.
that has been life changing for me because
Mhm.
I recognize that they had it hard. And as a result, their fruit blossomed this way. They became these people as a result of what they endured.
Mhm.
So it helps to soften my heart so that
Mhm.
I don't pass that on. God knows I'm doing my best. I said at the beginning of this, I'm trying to evaluate in what ways I am emotionally immature so that I don't pass that on. But I
Mhm.
know one of those ways that I don't do it is to soften my heart toward them.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So real women, real talk. What I have had to do and continuing to do, this has been an area of that's a journey for me.
Yeah.
Especially as it relates to my father being the emotionally immature parent, right? And recognizing over and over again that he is really focused on his own needs. And so there is a lot of hurt there for me. So definitely seeking therapy, being a part of Real Women. But I have been on a journey to figure out what's going to work for me as it relates to interactions with my father.
Mm-hmm.
So recently, I just had an honest, I just told him recently that I don't want to have any more communication with him.
That's big.
Left alone.
Mm-hmm.
Because I started to feel like he was only reaching out because he needed something. And
Mm-hmm.
that did not feel good to me at all. Like just feeling used, it made me really angry.
Mm-hmm.
So, in order to protect my peace and just be in a space where I could find safety, emotional safety for myself, and work on the little girl who is mourning the loss of her father and not being able to have that relationship, it really requires no communication. So sometimes it can look like not having communication, or like you said, if you're at a point where you can extend empathy and it doesn't impact you to where you're able to do that, then that's a an option too. But for me, where I am right now, it is too raw. My emotions are too raw, and some more things had happened recently that I was like, yeah, no, you are not safe, and I'm not in a point where I could even be, around you or interact with you. So sometimes it takes those drastic measures because this is some deep rooted stuff. And I know some people may feel guilty, like that's your dad, and people may say, oh, that's your parent, and you only get one. And that is true. And your feelings matter as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have to be just because the Bible say, this and that about parenting. It doesn't mean that you're disrespecting them. It just means that you have had enough, and there's only so much that you can take. So sometimes it looks that drastic.
And
Um,
can I add, I know you probably have more. I just want to interject to say I honor your decision, and it's not an easy one for you to make, I'm sure.
no,
Um, but what you made me think about is sometimes honoring your parents
yeah,
is creating that separation or that space
yeah,
or that margin, because if we did continue to interact in the ways in which you were allowing before, there
yeah.
would be dishonor.
Absolutely, absolutely,
there
yes,
would be and maybe I wouldn't even feel like it was dishonor. I feel like it was justified. So
yeah,
in order to maintain my peace
mhm,
and to protect whatever we have, to
yeah,
whatever degree we have,
yeah,
let us just not talk.
yeah.
So I respect the decision. I get it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Some other strategies is definitely this book. Like I said, this is such a useful tool. Like the Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents by Lindsay Gibson. Such a great read, and it has all of the things that we talked about, even what it looks like to end communication, whether it's for a season or permanently. Totally up to you, but and then also identifying your strengths. A lot of times when you grow up with someone who is an emotional, immature parent, they harp on your negatives and what you're doing wrong. And so you don't get that nurturing or that encouragement or that empowerment of identifying what your strengths are and who you are as an individual. So that's another thing. There are so many other things that are strategies, but these are just a few that I wanted to leave you with. So, yeah.
So good. You are gonna have to do when you graduate, you're gonna have to come back to a virtual circle and do this one. This is good.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Really good. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's so much to unpack, in a couple of minutes that we have for this podcast is not enough. But I just wanted to tease that topic and provide this resource because I believe there are a lot of people out there who are struggling as adults with things that they went through in their childhood.
So good. So
Mhm.
good. I hope y'all
Yeah,
tell us too.
yes. Please let us know.
Mhm.
Okay, sister. So we're gonna come up out of there because that was a little deep and heavy, right?
Come up on out of there.
We're gonna come up on out of there. And it's been a little minute since we did this segment. So let's talk about putting myself in her shoes.
Yay! Okay.
Since we're talking about kids and we're talking about my birthday and the week, I wanted to combine both of those, right? And
Mhm.
I don't know if you were this type of parent, but there are some parents when their child turned 1 years old, they want to do these lavish birthday parties and they have all these birthday decorations and themes and all of this stuff for this little 1-year-old baby who is still maybe trying to learn how to walk and talk and all the things. So I just wanted to know from you, sister, as a parent, putting yourself in your parental shoes, how do you feel about 1-year-olds having lavish birthday parties? Is that your jam or no?
So first of all, I don't remember my first birthday party if I had one or not. I
Yeah.
do not remember.
Yeah.
So I think there's that. Uh, most of us, I think all of us would probably not remember.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what we knew and decided for, because I wasn't around for Naya's first. I met her when she was 3.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw the pictures, so they did have first, second, and third birthday parties for her, and they had Demo the Clown and all of that, right?
Oh my God.
um and then I think from then we did like milestone birthdays, but it was
Mm-hmm.
after number 1. So for Nigel, we understood that the first year birthday party was for us, not for him. Like,
Right.
we fully understood that. And
Yeah.
so would fully admit that. And we did not want to put any major money in it. Everybody was going to come to our house
Okay.
and just love on him and celebrate him. And people were coming from out of town and all of that. But it
Yeah.
was going to be at our house, not a whole lot of dollars spent elsewhere.
Okay.
Well, what had happened was, um his birthday is February 12th. And
Okay.
so that year was like the great blizzard of 2010 or something. And
No.
so no one could get on our street unless they had like one of those big 4-wheel drives or whatever.
Yeah.
You couldn't get on our street. So the whole thing was, what do we do? What do we do? And they're like, no, I'm still coming. It's not bad where I am.
What?
So
It was a party.
we coming to celebrate with y'all. So we ended up and we really didn't have anywhere for them to park because the snow was being piled up and all of that. So even if you could get in, and we lived off of this hill, so some cars, like my car, sometimes wouldn't be able to get up the hill. So we used the right off of the main highway, a hotel right off the main highway had an inexpensive party room, and we had people meet us there because you could easily park. We brought chili from home in a crock pot. We
Yeah.
brought from the dollar store some balloons, and we partied in that room. We had a boom box. So it was the most, it was the cheapest,
Yeah.
most economical way to celebrate outside of our house. So the answer, I guess, is yes and no, but we knew we were celebrating for us and
Yeah. Y'all. Right.
not
Right.
the baby. Yeah. So I'm curious. So as a
Yeah.
child-free
Yeah.
woman,
Yeah.
what do you envision for yourself, or when it comes to your godchildren or whatever,
Yeah.
how do you feel about them?
So I think it would just depend on how I feel, because, like you said, I know it's not for the baby because the baby don't know what's going on. The baby want to take a nap, like the baby not going to be for all of this stuff. So it would depend on if I feel like doing something. I probably wouldn't go all out and spend a whole lot of money because it would feel like it's just overkill. But I do think I would celebrate some kind of way, just like, oh, look, my baby walking. So I think I would want to have some type of celebration, but the adults gonna party for sure. Like, I'm gonna find a reason to have fun, so I'm gonna make the baby gonna be the excuse for having fun. So I think it'll be a combination of both. I want to celebrate the baby and I want to have a good time too. And what better time than a birthday? So yeah.
Yeah, because as an auntie, I'd be like, so what we doing? When's
Right.
the party? What are we doing? Because if you're not doing it, bring the baby over here so I can
Yeah,
bring the
yeah.
baby.
So I get it. I get when people do it, like, it's just they're just excited, especially the first time parents, and just like, oh my God, my baby is growing, and celebrate every milestone. So I understand. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, y'all. So definitely let us know what you would do in this situation. How do you feel about 1-year olds having lavish birthday parties? To that, or you like to keep it simple? What are your thoughts? So reach out to us at speakpipe.com/real women real talk, or you can email us at info@realwomenrock.org.
Mhm.
Yes. So we've talked about so much today, sister. And, it's time to leave our audience with a little spiritual nugget that they can chew on, stew on, and that will carry them into the rest of the week. So, what comes up for you as a result of this conversation?
Yeah, the word empathy keeps
Mm.
coming up. I've said it a couple of times, and as we are closing,
Yeah.
I think about the importance of, first of all, being very self-aware of where I am, how what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking. So that self-excavation is so important.
Mm.
But realizing that um, there's a difference between being self-aware and self-centered.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so knowing that I am a part of this big world, and I am a part of my community, and I am a part of my family, and I am a part of my sisterships, and I am not the only one in the relationships that I have. It
Mhm.
is so important. And oh my God, I wish I had learned this earlier in my marriage,
Yeah.
that I it does not pay to be so self-centered.
Mm.
And I am important. Don't get
Mm.
me wrong.
Oh, that's
I
right.
am I am the most important thing to me.
Yeah.
But to know if I'm in relationship with other people,
Mhm.
it's not as what my love language is needs to be communicated
Mhm.
instead of me expecting others to love like I love.
Mhm.
I need to learn how to love, how to extend love the way others like to be loved. I
Mhm.
I need to communicate in a way that the people I'm in relationship can
Mhm.
hear and receive.
Yeah.
All of that takes me considering the other person, being empathetic and understanding of who they are and
Mm.
where they are. And that takes work.
It does. It really.
Empathy takes work. And so you go into the work with those that are worth it.
Yeah.
And once you decide these folks are worth it,
Mm.
empathy is worth practicing.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. I want to talk to those who are experiencing the impacts of
mhm,
being in the households with emotionally immature parents.
mhm,
And I really want you to reach out for help, like support, to
mhm,
really heal in these areas, no matter how long it takes, especially if you have children.
mhm,
Remember how it felt. Take
mhm,
inventory of how it feels to have grown up like that and make a conscious decision that you don't want to continue that cycle.
mhm, mhm,
So I just invite you, not from a blaming perspective or anything like that, but just to get curious about what you're feeling and how that may be showing up in your children's lives. And if you try to do something totally different, kudos to you. Thank you for shifting that pattern. And then I also want to talk to those parents who may, after this conversation, realize that, dang, maybe I am a little emotionally immature. Maybe I do overreact. Maybe I do put my needs before my children. Just think about that and be willing to get support.
yeah,
Be willing to get support. It doesn't matter how old you are. There are resources out there that can help you change the trajectory of your parenting. It can really help. So I just invite you. So if you're feeling blame, if you're feeling guilty, if you're feeling shame, whatever you're feeling, we're not here to, deal that to you. We just want to enlighten you. We want to inform you so that, you can choose differently. Yeah.
mm, yeah. Evolution. We get to
Evolution.
we get to evolve.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We get to
that is good.
evolve. And so,
Woo.
one of the ways that we can evolve is through real women. This is the type of work that we do. This is what we do. And if you heard Trenace say earlier that she wanted me to talk about this in a future virtual circle, what great time to be a part of it so that you can get in on that session and have a longer discussion and really share your experiences with us. So visit us at realwomenrock.org and see how you can become a part. And we have some amazing events coming up. We have the Real Women Blossom Brunch that's coming up March 29th at 11 a.m. And we are going to be celebrating some amazing trailblazers in the community. We're going to be celebrating each other. We're going to have music and food and just a good time. You get to put on your cute outfits for brunch and just come out and celebrate. And it's a fundraising event to help us further our mission. So we would love for you to join us March 29th at 11 a.m. Visit realwomenrock.org in the events tab and scroll down. You can find more information about the Blossom Brunch that we have coming up. Woo-hoo.
Yes, we're going to have a blast.
All right, y'all. This has been another amazing episode of Real Women, Real Talk. And until next time, take care of yourselves and be mindful of how you treat other people. Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.